Well, I feel like it's been a real hot minute. Let me put on some shades because it's sunny up in here. Let's get out of here. It's been a while since we last filmed one of these, but a bit has happened since then. We've completed our nights, our 3 weeks of nights for the year, which is really exciting. I think it's like, I don't know, you just pay your dues, pay your dues. You just have to do night shifts. Some people like it, some people don't. Most people don't. But you just have to do it each year. It's sort of like your penance as a junior doctor. Just have to get it out of the way. But the main thing I wanted to chat about today was essentially I got an email from I got a message first from this person who essentially was wondering about going into medicine as a mature age student. I think they weren't exactly always on the path to doing medicine as a career. I think they had been doing software engineering actually for quite a while. So the person who messaged me has also got a partner, they've also got a child together. I don't think that they're that old. I think they were in their mid-20s, but hasn't done any science degree, hasn't done any medical training or exams or anything like that. So it would be trying to work out the best possible way to streamline this whole thing so you don't spend that much time doing the prerequisites and then just have to get into medicine and then go through all your training. And it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, I guess, being 25 and trying to start out this whole thing, but they raised a couple of good points, which is worthwhile considering. I think the main thing is that it's a big question. It's a big decision to make whether or not you undertake this whole medicine pathway, because it's not just getting into medicine, which is like a big thing. It's essentially what are you going to get at the end of it, and what does life look like for you at the end of it. One of the main things to consider for anyone doing medicine or thinking about doing medicine is what sort of lifestyle do you want to have. And I mean, some of the ones that are like, I guess surgery is a good example of having a quite heavy workload for a long period of time before you really get much, if any, flexibility in terms of your lifestyle. Being, a surgeon does have its cons for sure. It's quite time intensive and, it's quite consuming, and there's a lot of stuff and a lot of pressure and everything like that. So especially if you're got a family or you're thinking about having a family, definitely consider what the work-life balance is after you finish your training and when you're working. I think that's the main thing. I don't think surgery is really unique in that respect. It's certainly the one that stands out to a lot of people, and for some it's like being on call and getting woken up in the middle of the night. And I guess there are less time intense specialties in medicine that you can do pretty easily and manage like a normal, like everyday life with it. But I tend to think regardless of the specialty, I mean, you're going to have to work pretty hard to get into it. You're going to have to spend some long hours getting through it, and it's not going to be a walk in the park. But that's, I guess, what you sign up for. I mean, if you go into medicine thinking about one thing in particular, like getting rich or having like these like cool operations to do or setting up private practice, or I don't know what sort of motivates some people, but when they envisage their life as a doctor, it's often not what it's really like for a long time. So this idea of someone essentially having a pretty easy, chill life when they become a doctor is not really the case, I guess, until you become like a consultant. So it's kind of interesting how people think about it, and a lot of people get into medicine for the for reasons that are probably not as sustainable as other people. So from what I can see from my point of view initially, like at least for the moment, is I feel like I've got a pretty good reason to be doing this whole thing. I really like the problem solving aspect. I really like the learning and the chaos and the busyness and the frenetic pace of it all. I've really enjoyed like leveling up and upskilling and just getting better each day. I think that lends itself naturally to it. I don't think there's as many specialties or as many fields where you can constantly keep leveling up, because there's such a rate of growth in innovation, research, techniques. Like there's medicines that are being developed, cures, preventions, vaccines, whatever it is. We're constantly forced to innovate, and I just feel like there's so much to know. So it's like a never-ending pit of room for improvement. It's like a video game that never ends, you know. So I like that aspect of it. I feel like some other fields are maybe a bit more self-limiting. You don't have that area to expand. And I mean, if some days I have to do a 15-hour day, so be it. It's not what I want to do every single day, of course not, but I don't mind doing that. Whereas I guess if you have other stuff going on, you might have 3 kids or 4 kids or whatever, and you want to spend time picking them up from school, or you want to spend time watching their sport on the weekends, or help out with the extracurricular activities. Maybe you want to do some traveling pretty often, or maybe have a hobby that takes up a bit of time on weekends, and sometimes you don't get to do that because you're working. I don't know. I mean, like, it's not a be-all and end-all, like, this whole medicine thing, but when people think, do I actually want to do it, or should I do it, really think about your lifestyle and how it looks like. I mean, part of the reason I'm doing this is to show someone who might be interested in doing medicine, or think medicine might be for them, what it actually looks like on a day-to-day basis. As simple as that sounds, people just don't know what the hours look like, what you get up to day-to-day. Would this actually suit them? Sure, you can study, and it's like essentially a cool thing to like learn about the human body and practice on cadavers and learn about how diseases work. Sure. But what's the actual bread and butter, day-to-day work life look like? Do you know what I mean? So think about it like this. I know this is sort of like, I guess I want to center the conversation around starting medicine a little bit later with a few other things going on in your life, and whether it's too late, whether it's the right call. Obviously, I can't make that decision for you. It's just presenting information and making you aware of all the things that are out there. And then hopefully you can draw your own conclusion about what the decision is that's best for you. In terms of like, just practically speaking, I mean, say you're 25, it'll take you 3 years to do an undergraduate degree, like a science degree, to make sure you get all the prerequisites. Then you have to do a 4-year medical degree, a postgraduate degree. You have to sit the tests to get into all that stuff. So there'll be the GAMSAT, there'll be interviews, there'll be grades. You have to get good grades. You have to do essentially just these entry tests. These entry tests will decide if you can apply or not, and determine whereabouts you go. Certain universities will only take certain marks and allow different people to be accepted for that particular cohort. So it's something small, but like, I mean, some people can get stuck on it. So it's not like a thing that you easily brush off and say, oh, easy, no worries, I'll get through this entry exam, no problem. You could do it. You could do a science degree, completely smash it out of the park, and then get stuck on the GAMSAT or whatever other entry test there might be at that time, and not be able to do well at it. And you might be unable to apply, really, unless you improve your GAMSAT score. So there's definitely these like uncertainties that medicine has, which is, you know, a little bit different from other specialties where you get to go straight into things and you might just essentially apply and then have a job and work your way up from the ground in the same company or something like that. So I feel like with medicine there's a lot of hurdles which may or may not be overcome. There are some people who have massive roadblocks in medicine and can't pass a certain exam or can't do a certain test or can't really, get past a certain interview or something like that. So there are hurdles which are actually kind of tricky to get across sometimes. Practically speaking, say you get through all that stuff, you finish your medical degree, that's 7 years in total. If you did it straight off the bat and you didn't take any breaks, didn't get rejected or anything, you were 25, now you're 32. You start internship, 33, and then you maybe spend 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years trying to get onto a training program of your choice. So let's say you do a surgical training program, that's 4 years. You spend 4 years trying to get on, and then you eventually got on. So now you're 36, and then you start training in that particular specialty. So maybe you do a specialty in ophthalmology or something like that. I don't know off the top of my head what the actual duration of the course is, but let's say it's 4 years. You do it for 4 years and you are 40 years old. You've completed your ophthalmology training, haven't taken a year off. You might do a fellowship for a year or two. Not sure what is really required in order to practice as an ophthalmologist. And yeah, then you get into that and then you have to start working, obviously as a consultant in the public hospital, and also consider setting up a private practice. So the runway for people should be like at least 15 years or so before you actually start getting some return on your investment, I guess is the main point to consider. So if you are thinking about doing medicine, have this like 15-year runway in mind. So if you don't want to keep doing that in 15 years time, is it the right thing? Do you want to do something else? Do you want to travel more? Do you want to do other things? Do you want to have a bit more freedom or something like that? I guess in Australia, you do have a little bit of flexibility. Like when you're working as a doctor, you finish med school, you can like locum around, and there's no real requirement for someone to specialize. You don't have to. You could essentially work as a resident or a locum or whatever you want for unlimited number of years. But I guess the real fun of it is being a specialist and specializing in one particular area. I don't know. I don't think I have a complete answer for you in terms of what I think is the best thing to do, and is it worth it? Is medicine taking up too much time? The thing is that I don't see it as taking up time that I don't want to spend doing it. So I really enjoy spending time learning about all this medicine stuff, and it doesn't really affect me as if I would, I don't know, if I felt differently about it, maybe I would resent it and I'd complain about the hours and the overtime and whatever. But it's the same as if you had some sort of passion in, I don't know, maybe cars. Maybe you're like some mechanic or something, and you every day you started at 7, you finished at 6, you loved this stuff, but you were working like an absolute dog. I don't know. If you love it and you enjoy it, like, you're able to spend so much more time doing that particular thing and getting really, really good at it without the consequences, because you're actually investing all this stuff in, like, your emotions, your feelings, your like hard work, your interests are actually peaked. Like, I like to think about it like this. Like, if I'm at home playing a video game, I could play that video game for like 3 straight hours. Like, what sort of thing like that could you do for work? If you can pick a skill or a task or an area in life where you're able to do that for like 3 consecutive hours in a row, no break, that's awesome. Go do that, because you're obviously passionate about it. You obviously love what you're doing. It's a win-win. I mean, time goes much faster in the sense that you're not worried about taking longer. You're not worried about being somewhere else. You're completely invested in that one thing, which is arguably one of the most powerful attributes to have. Because when you channel your focus into one area and you get super, super good at it, world's your oyster. In terms of my experience with the whole thing, how have I found it? Have I been burnt out? Would I have changed anything along the way? Do I think it's actually doable for people who are not single and essentially, childless, petless, Is it possible for other people who have, I guess, dependence on them? 100%. I mean, who am I to say that it's not possible, or you can't do it, just because you have like a child or a pet or something like that? I mean, medicine at the end of the day is just a job. Sure, it's like, glorified in the sense that people look up to it socially, respect it, they think it's a very admirable role to take in society, whatever. But it's just a job. You go to work, you get paid, you go home, and you just hope that you enjoy what you do during the middle of it. I mean, that's all it is to it. So if you go into medicine for the wrong reasons, you will not enjoy it. You will not have a real good time leveling up. You won't have a good time leveling up as much as the other person who really does it because that's actually what they want to do. That's what they enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis. So if you don't have that real deeper meaning for doing something, then I think you're essentially just delaying the inevitable. Whether you get 3 years into your career, 4 years into your career, 1 year, half a year, maybe you don't even make it through med school, If you get into it for the wrong reasons, you'll inevitably burn out and try to change careers. I mean, it's hard to keep that passion or fake passion up for so long. Inevitably, you just give in to what you actually want to do. So I think there was some other things that about how to spend your time management. Is it possible to spend it with your family, your kids? Sure, 100%. You can definitely spend as much time as you want with your family and kids. But will there be sacrifices? Of course. Will you have to work on some public holidays? Yeah, sure. Will you have to work during school holidays? Of course you will. It's not like a magic thing where you get all the exceptions, and you will actually have to make a whole bunch of sacrifices, which I don't know, I just didn't feel that bad at doing, I felt like I was okay at it. Holy shit, I'm tired. I need to get through this drive. I didn't have much sleep at all last night. One of the interesting things that this person asked me was, essentially, can you get some sort of shadowing experience and stuff to see what it's like? I guess I didn't really think about how this would be possible, and you don't really see people doing that anymore. I don't know what happened to it, but work experience was the main thing that sort of, I guess, sold me on the fact that this could be a really cool career to do. And I definitely know that kids don't do it nowadays. I really don't think my brother did it. I'm pretty sure my little sister did it, but I'm not sure if anyone else still does it now. But I think I reckon it's the best thing to go to work with someone and actually follow them around for the day. You might have no idea what is actually going on. You don't understand what they're talking about, what decisions they're making. Broad stroke, yes, like surgeons do operations. Physicians go to clinic, they treat, they think about things, they don't do that procedural stuff most of the time. You maybe go have a private clinic and you see patients there and you get paid money for, seeing patients and everything like that. But it is very different than actually reading about it, watching videos about it, going there, experiencing the real day-to-day life of what that person does at work. One of the best things, because then you actually see what it's like as a consultant, a head doctor, like the most senior doctor that you can be. And if you like that, you like that. That's really, really good. But sometimes it's not that, simple. You need to figure it out yourself and everything. But I guess in terms of the next step before you figure it out yourself, by just literally doing it and seeing if you like it or not, you should be able to test the waters a little bit. And going to work with a doctor is one of the best things to do. I know you had to get all these forms signed off and everything like that. I don't know why it got cancelled in the end, probably because a few things happened, but I can't really remember. Great experience. And I even did one work experience out of my own sort of volition. Like, I was talking with my stepdad, who worked with a guy who essentially did oral and maxillofacial surgery. I got to go and experience what it'd be like for a couple of weeks, and amazing, absolutely amazing. Like, it's unreal to see these guys in action and to see how their brain works and how the day runs for these types of people. It's really, really interesting. Time to get coffee, time to get home and get some food and regenerate our brain cells. It's just this long drive, boy. Long drive. Eyes are hanging out of my head. Also because I had about 5 hours sleep last night. Wonder if that's too bright. Too bright on my face? Don't know. Not bright enough? Is the hair alright? We don't know. Oh, a bit sunny. I might just pop this down just a little bit. I need a bit more. I think one of the main things to say at the end of it is all up to you. Like, what you want to spend time on, what you want to do, what you want to not do, how you want to spend your time at the end of the day. It's hard to say what it's going to look like in the future, but if you're going to make one decision, it's make the decision to do what you actually enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis. If you're not having fun, or you don't think you'd have fun in that area, you don't think you could do it for 15, 20 years, then maybe don't do it. I mean, it's like, pick something that you actually enjoy doing and you actually have fun with, and you enjoy the people that are around you. You can't know for certain what it's going to be like in the future, but if you pick general things that you want to do, and then you narrow it down and you get more specific into a more specific area each and every year. So that's the thing. I mean, if you look at it from my point of view, or if I look at it from my point of view, that all I've ever done is slowly but surely narrow down the areas. Well, I've slowly but surely narrowed down the area in which I want to spend my time in. So if we take it back to the start of it, all I did was science subjects. I did maths and science subjects at school. I was good at them. I enjoyed doing them. And I thought, what's a natural progression of this? Potentially medicine. There you go. So you run with that. Try to get into medicine. You do a general science degree. You do that. Then you get into medicine. You do that.
Then you start working as a doctor. You're still not sure what area you might be interested in, but you start crossing out stuff that you don't enjoy. You say, well, maybe not psychiatry, maybe not medicine, maybe not pediatrics. You start thinking about what you don't want to do. That's just generally narrowing down the area in which you want to work in medicine. And then you start saying, well, I actually could do that. I actually could maybe do some surgery. That's kind of cool. I actually really enjoy that. Maybe we look into what surgical fields we can do. And then you go further and further and further. And then in your specialty, say you choose cardiothoracics. Maybe there's a particular procedure in which you are very, very confident at, you're very interested in, you want to get into the nitty-gritty, how it impacts clinical practice, research in that area. Because that's what people do at the end of the day. They get so deep into what their specialty is, and then a subspecialty within that general area. So I don't know, I think you can use that as a sort of guide to how to think about whether you should do medicine or not if you are changing careers. If you already have a full-time job, if you already have a family or some other stuff going on, maybe you have a business and you're like, well, actually not that fulfilled by this business or not fulfilled by this job that I've been doing for the past 5 years. What is it that you want to be doing for the next 15, 20, 25 years? Are you happy to do that? Do you realize it's a long runway? Does it matter? Can you actually financially support yourself with or without remuneration for a little bit of time? Because med school, not paid. You actually have to pay money for that. Undergraduate degree, not paid. You have to pay money. That's 7 years, okay, of study. Then you have to pay for exams, you have to pay for study, the whole cost of all those things. And then opportunity cost of you're paying money to do one thing in substitution for doing a completely different thing. Is that worth it? Does it matter? A whole bunch of stuff to factor in. But I don't know, at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be a really complex decision. Think about it deeply, but at the end of the day, draw back to the things that actually matter to you. Do you enjoy what you do? Do you have fun with the people around you? If so, that's probably a good sign that you should keep on doing that sort of thing. And you just get really good at it over time. Just like that video game that you play and you absolutely love it. You could spend hours and hours doing it. Imagine if you could do that, So, I don't know, man. Do I have all the answers? Absolutely, absolutely not, Medicine can be whatever you want it to be. Doesn't need to be an all-intensive, all-inclusive field that takes everything from your life. Some people want that. Some people want to be absolutely committed and dedicated to medicine in the sense that they want to spend all their life doing it. And that's fine. Some people just want it as a job. They're interested in the field. You can do different parts of medicine. That it's not a on or off switch. There are actual degrees and facets in which you can extract from medicine to use for your everyday life and for your job. Maybe you want to do part-time sort of stuff, or maybe you want to, maybe you want to do public health things in medicine. Maybe you want to do, more of a leadership, admin-y sort of role or educator sort of role. I don't know, it's not like every doctor at the end of the day is working at the same capacity. Everyone has varying different degrees at which they work at, and that's completely fine. It's just working out what you want to do with it all. And I think that's the thing that people forget, is that it doesn't have to be what someone else wants you to do. Think about what you really want to do and then go from there. I'm not sure there's much else to say, to be honest. I don't think that you really need to stress about it that much, worry about it that much, work out what you want to do and then go from there and just weigh up the risks and benefits of it. Risks, obviously it's a slow burn, it's a long runway, there's a delayed gratification in terms of its remuneration, in terms of the work-life balance, everything like that. But the benefits are numerous, I would say, in the sense that it's almost unparalleled how much, it's just so interesting, and everyone's going to have their own reasons for doing medicine. and maybe they want to do it for some sort of family reason, or maybe they have some sort of passion for a specific field in medicine and that's what they really want to learn about. Maybe they really want to get good at a certain procedure or something. So work out what's important to you and then go from there. That's all I can say. To the person that asked this question, hopefully that gave you a bit of an idea of what to think about, what things to factor into your decision making, and yeah, I think more generally, it's a good reflection point for people who are thinking about getting into medicine, who are in the midst of studying medicine, and even people who are working as doctors. I mean, it makes people second guess why they got into it in the first place, really clarify their goals, their expectations, and their reasons for continuing to do it, you know? Anyways, let's leave it there. Hopefully that helped. Bye.